Kenya, it is not a burden, it is not a crisis. The second reflection that I want to put across is what we are doing as government to prepare the youth to take their role in society now, today, and tomorrow. So we are doing reforms across the education system, from pre-primary education to university education, end to end. And when this government was put in office in 2022, our manifesto commits to relook at our education system at all levels with a view of reforming it, modernizing it, making it adaptable to the changing world, the complexities of the 21st century. And in this regard, you are aware, just under 3 years ago, there was hue and cry about the efficacy and relevance of what was then called the curriculum, CBC. The president puts up a presidential working party made up of eminent Kenyans with representatives from all the shades of opinion within the education system to look at our education system end to end and propose reforms. That working party, the presidential working party, brought a number of changes. Some of them we are implementing, others we are adjusting, because after implementing them for a year or so, we have realized there is need for fine-tuning. CBC, there was a big crisis during the 2022 presidential campaigns. Everywhere we went, the members of the public, especially parents, used to tell us, scrap CBC. From Mombasa to Busia, from Namanga to Moyale, scrap CBC. But today, we have been able to refine, fine-tune, remove bottlenecks in the CBC, and we have now come with a broader concept of public education, which we are not just calling CBC, because CBC is just a curriculum, it's just content. We are calling it CBET, that is competence-based education and training. Working on reforming, more basically in terms of infrastructure, we have covered good ground. But we can now transist our junior secondary school graduates into senior school, where they'll take pathways, not the way we've been doing it, where everybody goes to high school to study everything, but to take pathways. The last 3 years of schooling before university will involve pathways either in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics courses, or pathways in humanities and social sciences, or pathways in the creative arts and that space which is emerging there in creativity and performance arts. And for me, it's not easy. You know, that has taken a lot of government focus, because we believe a good education system is good for the young people of Kenya, is good for the country now and tomorrow. Beyond that, we have been working on reforms in the tertiary institutions, especially technical training institutes, as the ministers alluded to. In 2022, there were 297,000 technical TTI students, tertiary institution students, which is an anomaly, because normally you should have larger numbers in tertiary institutions than the numbers in the university. but we found an inverted system where you have 1 million students in university and only 297,000 in TTIs. Today, through again the hard work of our brothers and sisters in the ministry and other stakeholders, we've been able to change that structure. And from 297, by last year we had 375,000 students. This year we have hit 700,000 students in TVETs, and next year we'll take that number to 2 million. That has not happened by itself. It has happened because it's a deliberate policy intervention by government. At the TVET level, we have introduced a number of measures that has helped us. One is the modularization that the Minister for Education has spoken about, where you don't have to come and stay for 3.5 years in a TVET institution. If you need a course for 3 weeks, and then you go and work, then you come and add another course later, you can do it module by module. Then you interface between work and education, so that you start earning early as a young person. There is no need of locking you up in a TVET for 3 years when you can work and earn and start empowering yourself early. That modularization is a game changer and is part of the reforms that we are steering to make sure that we respond and to the modernization of our education system. We have also introduced, again, the recognition of prior learning policy, where we have many young people who may not be as fortunate as the students of Pwani University, or as I was when I was a youth. They don't have any formal training. They don't have any formal certification. But God has granted them with certain skills, talents, naturally. They can put together a table. They are actually carpenters, but they have no certificate because they have never entered anybody's polytechnic. Don't we have young people like that in the countryside, everywhere? Some are electrical. They can put together electrical appliances and do some work, but they have no certification. Some are mechanics. They do basic repairs on vehicles. They are not certified. We have said those ones, many of them are in a sector we call Juakali. The people you see doing work in Juakali, many of them have no formal certificate. So the recognition of prior learning helps those people for a short period, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, to go to a TVET, be assessed by government quality assurance institutions like NITA and the others, get certified by the institution, but in a shorter period of time. They don't have to waste 2-3 years for something they already know. The only thing they didn't have is the certification and the formalization of that knowledge, the recognition of prior learning, modularization. Those are game-changing interventions of the William Ruto administrations around TVETs. We have also introduced dual training policy, where we are saying young people who are in the tertiary institutions cannot graduate just by studying theory, especially for skills and practical subjects. They must have exposure, industry exposure, in a practical situation. And so it's a must before you graduate. Part of your learning will be theoretical, part of the learning will be practical. So we are making sure we attach them to government projects. And when I say government projects, national government projects, county government projects, private sector projects, to make sure before they graduate they are ready for the job and they have not learned in theory only. And so that tertiary space, we are revolutionizing it. We are adding equipment in our TVETs and so many other things that I do not have time to narrate. At the university level, we are looking at the funding of higher education. Because by the time a student is qualified to join university, they are fairly formed up. That is like the tail end of the education ecosystem. So we need to ensure 4 things in higher education: access, affordability, relevance, and quality. Those are very key things that underpin a successful higher education, university education system. University education must be accessible to as many qualified students as possible. It must be affordable to those who are qualified. The subjects must be relevant to the needs of today and tomorrow, so that you don't teach students old things, things which are never relevant, the things of I don't know which century there, and you're trying to teach technology that is already, overtaken by events. That's why I was happy to hear Professor Kahindi, Vice Chancellor, mention that they are incubating learning around young people getting trained and educated around machine learning, artificial intelligence. That is the future. That is where, those are the cutting edge issues that require the attention of our education system. We must make sure our education system at the university is accessible, affordable, relevant, and of high quality. I know we are still tidying up that funding space. The Vice Chancellors tell us there is improvement. Even with what we have implemented, there's a bit of improvement in terms of making sure that our universities do not become insolvent, as was happening. But still, we have issues around the means testing instrument that you're using and the banding of students in different categories, work in progress, but we are going to get there shortly. So we are looking at university from pre-primary to university as a way of modernizing our education system. That's how you curriculum, you look at their training at all levels, you change this policy, you change the other policy, fine-tune this intervention to make sure that we have a good education system. And I like what the minister has said. You are aware last week government decided to reduce fees in the university from up to 40%, some courses a little lower than that, depending on the courses. But still there is a lot of work we need to do in our university education and tertiary education space. I am particularly impressed by the initiative taken by Pwani University. Again, Professor Kahindi and your team, congratulations. Again, the students of this university, led by, there was the Andrew Muteti. Wewe ndiye kusema hapa? Wewe ndiye rais wa hapa? Wewe ndiye fire hapa? Ni fire si fire? Fire si fire? Noma si noma? I really liked your presentation, Mr. Rais wa Pwani University. I like your presentation because many student leaders, I dare say, even of our time, when you get a chance to talk to a government official who could help in one way or the other, they just start talking about maneno ingine hapo, mambo kidogo kidogo, small things. He said 2 things, isn't it? He said, first of all, many comrades are suffering. They cannot afford even the fees that they are supposed to contribute. Many comrades cannot afford. Even their upkeep is a problem. So what have they done? They have come up with a bursary kitty. And I have confirmed with Professor Kahindi that the university is supporting the students to have a kitty, so that the university has a kitty for bursaries for needy students, so that they can be able to have as many students as possible completing their university education. I was very impressed. Mr. Muteti also talked about lighting, which is a security issue. Again, to make sure the learning environment here is better than it is at the moment. I want to commit of my personal and government support to make sure that those two issues you have raised, Mr. President, will be attended to. Comrades power, comrades power, fire see fire, fire see fire, noma si noma, tuendelee tusiendelee, si namna hiyo. And I want to start with those issues, okay? I am very passionate about students having access and affording university because I've been there. I've been a student at several levels, undergraduate, postgraduate, and so forth. But I've also been a university professor for many years. So I understand what it means for a student to be supported, especially those from underprivileged backgrounds, to be supported a little bit, to afford it, to finish their education. Now, I am told the students have already contributed 500,000. And the university, Professor Kaindi has told me the university has matched the students' effort with another 500,000. That is 1 million, isn't it? So, I want to match both the students and the university's contribution by an extra 1 million shillings to that kitty. Okay? But I also want to challenge you. That's not enough, because that money is not enough. I know the needs are too many for a large university with 8,285 students. The needs are many, because I know our country well. So, first, iko 500 ya wanafunzi, 500 ya university, na 1 million ya deputy president. Hiyo ni milioni ngapi? Hiyo milioni ngapi? I want to come back here after the International Youth Week. It's ending next week on Tuesday. The following week, I want to come here for two things, to this university. For two things. One of them I'll tell you later, just now. But the other one, which I will tell you now, I'll come here so that now, before you start distributing that 2 million, I will come back, and I will not come back alone. We'll come with Waziri Mvurya, Waziri Joho, and the other PS, and the other minister, and a few friends. We support further. Before you distribute that money, we again boost it. Because when we are out there and we are doing empowerment for small-scale traders, your parents, it is the same thing we need to do with the students here. So that as your parents struggle there to expand their businesses and have more income, we also empower you to get a good bursary scheme. And Mr. Vice Chancellor, please, I want that bursary scheme for Pwani University to be a model which we can replicate in other universities across the country. So I'll give you a date before the next 10 days or thereabout, after the Youth Week is over. We start with Pwani University. By that time, we'll have 2 million, and then we look for more money. And we'll be doing that every year. We'll be topping up hiyo maneno every year. Tuendelee tusiendelee? Ama namna gani? Pwani hoye. Kwa hivyo, other universities think about the students who, even if there is all these policy interventions we are making, they still cannot afford the little that they are required to input. So one way of A university showing empathy to the needy students is having a bursary scheme which helps the needy students. Now, the last thing that we are doing is we are trying to expand job and income opportunities for young people as a government. Many governments have always talked about the lack of enough jobs and income opportunities for its young people in this country. But we have never had a program, an end-to-end view and program of job and income opportunity creation. We've done a small measure on one corner, a small intervention in another corner, but we don't have a comprehensive job creation program as a country. This administration is the first administration to come with a program that has several pillars aimed at creating jobs, increasing jobs, and also job income opportunities for young people. And therefore, people talk about Kazi Maju program, the labor mobility program. It's one of the pillars. It's not the only one. It's just one of the pillars. And I am a proud Kenyan today to know in the last under 3 years, we have been able to provide or to facilitate 400,000 young people to access jobs overseas. And there is nothing wrong for a young person in today's globalized world working from anywhere. It doesn't disconnect you from home. Today, someone working in Dubai can decide every 3 months to fly home, or at least once a year. Just the same way people from Busia who work in Kilifi go up country on Christmas Day once a year. There's no difference. It's only that one is in Kilifi. If you have 2 young people from Busia, and one is working in Kilifi, another one is working in Dubai, they will all go home on Christmas Day to Busia. So there is no much issue. Those who can get jobs abroad, we have a program called the Kazi Maju program, and already 400,000 young people have got opportunities. We need to expand into 500,000, 600,000, even 1 million young people. It is possible. Once we sign more bilateral labor agreements, we have already done around 6. If we do the remaining 13, we should be able to expand it to 1 million jobs through Kazi Maju alone. But we also have other programs. We are still hiring in the public service. We are hiring teachers. This is the government, I dare say, this is the administration that has hired the highest number of teachers in the history of Kenya. The statistics are there. We have hundreds of thousands of unemployed teachers. That is a fact. But it's also a fact that between 1963 and 2021, the whole country for 60 years had employed slightly over 300,000 teachers for primary and secondary schools. The statistics are there. Just ask TSC how many teachers we had by 2021. Slightly over 300,000. This administration, in under 3 years, already we have employed 76,000. In December, we'll employ another 24,000. We will have mopped out from the pool of unemployed qualified teachers 100,000 teachers in 3 years. 30% of all the teachers employed since independence. Sijui kama tunaelewana. And we saw this in our manifesto. We've not just come out and decided we want to employ teachers. We discovered we have unemployed graduates. We discovered there is a deficit in terms of staffing. We committed in our manifesto to employ 116,000 teachers in 5 years. In 3 years, we will have done 100,000. We will be left with 16,000. We will meet the commitment in the manifesto and surpass it. And you hear some people loitering around, harassing and just inciting young people how this government has done nothing. Those are the facts. But we have other interventions that we are doing to create jobs at home, kazi kwa ground, touching on young people, not just university graduates, but also other young people who could be graduates of TVETs or even graduates who somehow could not go very far. Kazi Mtaani is back this month. It will offload 200,000 young people in the first year alone from the unemployment realm. And we will sustain it, we will not stop it. We will sustain it because there is enough work to be done to clean our environment, to clean our towns and urban centers. Even as we continue with affordable housing, we are realizing our country is becoming more and more urban. And in the next 15 years, 60% of Kenya is going to be urban. It is that serious. So we have kazi mtaani. Hiyo kazi mtaani sio ya majuu, ni ya ground. Ni hapa. We are creating jobs here. They are not going to do kazi mtaani in Dubai. Hapa. But we also have the affordable housing program. That affordable housing program is both a housing program, but also a job creating program. Already 300,000 young people have been absorbed in the program of constructing affordable houses and markets across Kenya. And these are different jobs. We have structural engineers in those sites. We have architects. We have quantity surveyors. We have fundis, wambao, masons. We have electrical engineers, you have everybody. Even watu ya mkono are there. Again, 300,000. The ICT hubs we are building, we are creating jobs kwa mtandao. Again, the figures are looking good. So cumulatively, we now have an idea. For the first time, the country has an idea how to fragment the job and income creating opportunities to enable as many young people to enter the job market and to have incomes. We have brought for the business, the youths in business, especially small businesses. We are introducing this year the Nyota program and KJET program. Nyota is for young entrepreneurs, business people in micro and small enterprises across the country, where 70 businesses led by young people will get a grant of 50,000 shillings to expand their micro businesses. You can imagine the power of 70 businesses in every ward across Kenya, each business getting 50,000 shillings. So we have an end-to-end view. We may not be doing as well as we would like to, but at least now we have a roadmap. If you know where you are going, you will reach. Doesn't matter how far it is. But if you don't know where you are going, you will not reach because you could be traveling in the opposite direction. Isn't it? If you know where you are going, it doesn't matter how far your destination is, you will reach there. But if you don't know where you are going as a country, you will never reach your destination because most probably you are heading in the wrong direction. So we have kazi kwa ground, kazi mtaani, kazi ya affordable housing, employing teachers, employing people in the public service, employing people in the private sector, kazi kwa ground. Kazi mtandaoni, through the ICT hubs that we are doing for job creation in the digital space. Kazi majuu for the young people who wants to go abroad. Nyota and KJET programs to support the young people who are doing business. Nothing will prevent Kenya from turning the youth of our country into the resource that it is supposed to be. And gradually we will offload. This is a problem that has accumulated over 6 decades because nobody was brave enough to think through. They were simply inciting young people how you are not getting opportunities and what have you. So I want to conclude by saying that what we need to do as a country now, from where I sit, even as we create the hardware of job creation and income opportunities, we must deal with the software. And the software is to work, those of us who are older, those of us who are in government especially, let's work with young people and connect connect with them. First of all, we need to understand them. We need to also tap into their expertise, because today's young person is much more knowledgeable than us who went to school earlier. That is the truth. Many adults don't want to accept. Young people are more educated. They have greater access and exposure to technology, to, early. Some of you saw a computer when you were writing your PhD. Some professors seated here. Yeah. Some of you wrote your thesis using a typewriter. Now, today, kids in primary school can use the computers very easily. So, today's young person is not the young person of 1970 and 1980. More educated, more powerful. They know more than us, we must accept. They may not know everything, but they know more than us, especially the things that have come up during their generation. Some of us are trying to catch up. So we must learn from our young people. But also we need to engage. There needs to be an engagement, because we need a transition. Those of us who are talking to you from here today, we have a shorter lifespan, a shorter working time frame ahead of us than most of you have just started or even have not started. But we need a transition. We cannot just have a commotion and just some disruption. We are going to, as national government, to have a framework for engagement with the young people of Kenya, of all shades. Those in universities and tertiary institutions, those in informal job settings, those in the countryside, those in the urban areas, so that we can understand and learn and tap into what the young people of Kenya can offer their country. It is not true that young people, because they have not started working, they don't know anything. They know a lot, and perhaps much more than the older people know. And therefore, we are going to start that engagement. And that engagement, I want to start it here from Pwani University. So when I'm coming back for that bursary maneno, I want us to have a proper town hall with Pwani University comrades. Na msiogope, mtuambie mambo yote ile maneno mnataka kutuambia. Because we need to engage with you. Tell us. Ile tu tunaomba ni the culture of violence and rudeness does not take anybody anywhere. All over the world, you can get very far through constructive engagement. The world has changed. The time when violence used to be one of the methods of resolving disputes, that time is gone. So let us engage, let us listen. Many of the things that young people are saying are actually right. They are telling those of us who are in office that corruption and stealing public money is a bad thing and it should stop. Isn't it? Any person entrusted with public funds who is siphoning those funds and diverting them to private use, that person is not just an enemy of young people, it is an enemy of Kenya. Because you're stealing the future of the nation. And some of the things that young people are saying, they are right. Our prayer is that modalities of saying these things be streamlined and just keep quiet about it. And in the next 1-2 years, you're going to see a lot of changes. I don't want to preempt the president, but you're going to hear some pronouncements as we begin a new chapter as a country of being more listening, more accommodative, and forging a national consciousness that will take us to the next level. Even the hard topics that many of us are uncomfortable discussing, you're going to hear very soon. We will start having those conversations on the hard issues of accountability, hard issues on the fight against graft and stealing of public funds. They had issues about how those in authority treat citizens and how security agencies engage with the people, how do the rights of people, how are they moderated. But in the process, we'll also have a very difficult conversation on how the exercise of rights must not injure the national good and hurt innocent people who have nothing to do with what you are aggrieved about. Long time ago, I used to be a university professor, so that's why I've taken that long, but I've finished. I look forward to engaging young people, not just of this university or our higher education institutions, but also our young people who may not necessarily in our institutions, but they are out there and they are looking for the government to listen to them. They are looking for the government to adjust the things that they think we are not doing right. I am going to be part of the solution, just like it was said earlier that we need to be part of the solution, all of us, and stop the blame game. Don't allow young people, the youth of Kenya, don't allow people who have had their time, people who had opportunity, they had a career, they did all they wanted to do, and in their dying years, they want to incite you to destroy the country and leave you with a broken country. Don't allow people who have had their time to waste your time, because you need your time so that you can also get the... Thank you very much. So nawashukuru sana, nawatakia kila laheri. Mimi naomba tumalizie hapo. Kuna vile PS alisema, and this PS is 29 years old. Huyu PS is 29 years old. So, and he sits at very high decision-making levels. He has access to the head of state. So, if it is getting the agenda of young people channeled into government, the PS for Youth Affairs is there, 29 years old. I don't think the president would have done anything better. So, vijana power. Vijana power. So I want to suggest that we formally have the national anthem, and then after that, the person who was supposed to come and close can come here and close with us. And once again,